Come on, I take me, I take the kid and make him see. Make him believe in chasing his dreams and destiny. Truly accept the knowledge, a part of the recipe. In order to have an impact, I first must invest in me. We sowing seeds, locally, globally, overseas. Integrity, dignity, yeah, we living by both of these. The seeds of my players had to take a knee to cope with these. The police keep taking knees on my neck, how we supposed to breathe. Now look at me, I'm leading the movement like Booker T. Let's look at the aftermath when Kaepernick took a knee. When MLK took a march, Coretta Scott took a seat. I look defeat in the eyes and I declare victory. On 4th and long, I go for the gusto, that's 6 for me. Right when I cross the TD, I drop down and I take a knee. I'm giving God all the glory for giving the grace to me. Like I take a knee every morning and thank Him for waking me. I take a knee.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the studio here in Burbank with Mr. Tony Sweet. And the show tonight here, the TAC Transition, powered by Tony Jefferson. Another night, guys. Here we are. We're ready to get this thing rolling. Before we know it, it's going to be the 50-minute point. It's going to seem like it just blinked right by us. But it's going to be an exciting night tonight. So we're going to do what we normally do is, once again, we want to thank Coach Tutu out there in Chicago just for giving us the opportunity to use his words, the TAC Time All the Time song, and present it and place it into a nice opening in our show for the Kuya. And as we roll, we know we're in a segment right now to do our updates, and we have one of our alliances is Project, and it's Asura. So Asura's going to touch base on what Projects is doing right now with Winter Circle and everything they're doing right now. So we get Asura on right now.
Hey, how's everybody doing? So a project in Take a Knee is currently at Winter Circle. We're training O-line, D-line linebackers over there at Winter Circle. A lot of it we're doing was teaching the youth and high school kids is with their feet, their hips, and their hands and their eyes and how that all works together in their position. Working with the hand placement, striking, their hips tells them where they need to go, and their feet placement with the 2 steps and just getting their eyes where they need to be on time. So that's what we're doing at Winter Circle on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Hey, Coach, and also you guys, as in a sense, worked on a tool for a minute. It's called the Nines, and you brought those out to the community. So touch base on a bit about the Nines and how that's going to benefit as opposed to what people are doing right now with the Sevens.
So with the Nines, yes, it's a huge and it's a new concept that we're bringing to the off season football. Instead of separating the big boys, the anchor of a team in the fall, we're bringing them all together with the skills and including them in it in gameplay. So everything is more of when you transition to 11 on 11, everything is there. So we're kind of like we are the bridge from flag football to tackle football because the transitioning is very similar and it's easier to transition from it, especially with QBs. Making the reads, stepping up, going through the progression and throwing on the run. Then you have the O-lineman communicating, learning, communicating the blitzes, the stunts, D-lines working, their moves, linebackers taking their read steps instead of just dropping straight back. So those are a lot of benefits, and especially with the coaches. Now they get to strategize behind this new concept instead of just throwing up a board and having them run the play. So it's a big benefit in the off season for the Nines, and we're excited about it. And we're going on our 3rd one now, trying to get this thing going and get it out there.
Coach, and listening to that, I think the whole vast of it is awesome because now you got coaches coaching completely. You hit something that was crazy. I haven't even seen that, but just putting up a board on a play that no one's going to do that. So now they literally got to start coaching every play, every technique. Otherwise, it's going to collapse. The comfort is done. 7-7's on its way out. So the comfort's done, guys. The Nines are in. So, Asura, we want to thank you for giving us an update on what's going on there. And then we just want to touch base on on what else we're going to be running with. You know, my family's got a thing that my wife is working on. She's working on RTG. So we like to always say Robin and Walla and just the family for doing what they're doing with the RTG. I think that's pretty cool. What's cool in our show today, we're bringing back Milo Lorenzana, and he comes up with our guests, and we had the opportunity to meet the guests at one of the roundtables that we did down in San Diego. So we got Puerto Vida here tonight, and we're really excited about having Milo here in Puerto Vida. Hey, Milo, if you got something to say to the people here, we would love to hear your voice.
I'm just happy to be back. Thank you for having me back, Coco. And I'm just excited to be here with my boy Kuya and just being able to just, touch base with the LA and Coco and what you're doing and just see where we can go from here.
I think that's awesome because, Milo's my cousin, so it's pretty cool when you can get a cousin to come up twice within 2 months. I mean, that's pretty like embracing for our family. That's a long time. So thank you. That's awesome. We're also doing some things. We're at Chino Hills High School on Monday nights from 7 o'clock to 8:30. We got a complete defensive progressive camp. That's D-line, linebackers, and defensive backs all working. It's really the only one that's out there that combines it all and just works on concepts. So just want to give a shout out there to Chino Hills for giving us an opportunity to go out there and elevate the programs. Okay, so now let's get to where we're at. We're here tonight because Tony Jefferson gives us an opportunity to come out here. He provides it. The nice thing about this whole thing is we've been tracking and what Tony's been doing, and he just got re-signed by the Ravens. And then when you're embraced, and we say it all the time, when you know your value and your value is embraced, then you get to feel really comfortable about where you're at and the things you're doing. So we really want to applaud you, Tony, for the things that you do and giving us the opportunity. But we're here for one reason only, and that's to hear the seeds that are going to be dropped by Thakuya Galido. And then,
oh yeah.
So tonight he's gonna touch base a little bit about, not his high school days. Yeah, in a sense, a little bit about his high school days. But for a lot of us, those are knucklehead days. Those are days that you live off of instinct and off of gut and strut. So he's gonna touch base about that and kind of give us a transition on who he is a little bit. So we just want to welcome not D or the, it's Thakuya.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, baby.
Can I get a big oh
yeah.
yeah.
Here we are.
We out here, baby. And I can't thank you guys enough for having me. It's such an honor to be able to share my story or a little bit of what I've gone through in my life. I come from gangbanging, and I was even banging in these streets in LA. So gangbanging is not new. It's not something new to me, but it's what happened after that. It's the drug addiction that I went through, the suicidal thoughts that I went through, the crazy things that you do, and then feeling the remorse afterwards is what I went through that people don't know about. And a lot of people think that you have to be through the military to have suffered PTSD. My PTSD is from the streets. So it's a whole different thing when I hear like that big pop that sounds like a gunshot, that I hear creaking in my house thinking someone's gonna, come inside, you know what I mean? But those days are gone, But what had changed a pivot point in my life at that point was a drug addiction finally took me to the big house, And I did a long stretch of time. I did like 10 years, and that 10 years would change anybody. I wasn't all on the pinochle. I wasn't on the chest. I wasn't about playing no prison games. But what I did was I read books. I traveled in my mind when it came to traveling the world. So when I got out, it was one of the things that I wanted to do was get out there and see the things and taste the food. So on my Instagram, I'm like Thakuya, foodie tattooer. It's the two things that drive me, eating and tattooing, and here we are.
That's kind of good. He talks about the big house. Let's get a couple of things because we're straight here. at the tack transitions, and the pivots. And he's not talking about going to Disneyland, and he's not talking about going to a university. Although in my family, when we don't get to see somebody for a bit, they're getting some higher education.
It's School of Hard Knocks.
The School of Hard Knocks. But Kuya did a little bit of time. But in that time, I think he found himself. And finding yourself, at least you got a starting point.
Yeah.
And then when you have that starting point, you get to take off. So from there, getting out and knowing what had to be done to get to survive in there, then you have to get into another transition and a pivot to get into the real world. And that's one of the hardest things for people to do. They always tend to get back, but and things that you've done, there's still some hidden secrets. I know all of us have them. There's a couple things that are here and there that everybody has, but you change.
It's
Let's
funny,
talk about that.
It's funny how you mentioned that. It's a lot of things I do today is not necessarily to right the wrongs that happened before or that I had done, but it's just moving forward from there. I caused a lot of destruction in people's lives, and my way is to enrich and empower the generation coming. You know what I mean? Because I wish I had that. I wish I had that person or individual to be that role model for me. We all have our fathers and stuff, but what we do as children, we like to go to the streets. We like to go to the homie. We like to go to my best friend or whoever. Right. And so it's not that I didn't have my parents. It's we choose that surrogate family, and that's who we listen to. We listen to them because they understand us. They get it, and it's that's my motivation. Is I help out in the community. I help people, and I just do it because of the things that I've done and the things that I felt needed to be right. This is how I make it right.
And listening to that, James, what do you gather out of that? Okay, I was once in, now I'm out. So it's not about hanging out, it's about getting out, and that's what he's doing. He's getting his mindset out and learning to throw it in a different manner. What's your take there?
The youth is wasted on the youth, right? When we're young, we think we know better. And then we gravitate to people that relate to us in certain ways, right? And it takes going through it. So what happens is Kuya became a living example because he made it through the chaos. There's stories and stories, right? But doing a stretch like that, seeing what he did, admitting that, he affected people's lives, and he's come out of that, it's a huge example, right? And it's great to see because he's holding the responsibility. You know what? I need to help tell my story and give it back through my artwork and stuff like that.
That's awesome because they say that if you don't say it, then you'll never play it.
Right.
So it's awesome that you can come out here and be transparent, just so authentically and genuinely.
It takes a lot of strength.
It takes a lot of strength. It really does. And one of the things in getting to learn who Kuya was and who he is and where he's heading. So we've had some conversations in the last couple of weeks, and I've got to know this gentleman as a I talk about in football players or guys they got to learn to play in a pattern. They got to understand their surroundings, and Kuya lives in a pattern, and he's gifted in the senses, and I look at that and he said the other day is and I look at that in a sense of like the big picture. He goes he's talking about celebration of life. He's talking about life, and he says that why does it have to be after a service? Right there, because it should be celebrating life while they're alive, and then you get to know it. So now when I look at that and some of the things, now I see a lot of those pictures of you with a lot of your friends, around, and then I see the picture of that. But now I look and I go, he's doing exactly what he said he's going to do. Celebrate life, and you're around a lot of people, so they gravitate to you, and that's awesome. So Milo, if you looked at if you looked at that whole thing and that, what gravitated you to Kuya?
I think I was just telling somebody this yesterday or the day before. His just, the way he does what he says. Being a man of his word and a family man. An artist, mentor. A homie. He has all these roles that he has, and he takes the time to be every one of those people, you know what I mean? And he rolls with like he comes in the shop, and he always has an entourage of people with him, and it's crazy. It's a beautiful thing. Like, and the other day, I think I just told him this. I said, bro, like. And they're not kids, you know what I mean? You got grown men that probably have wives and kids, but he always has an entourage. But all these guys, they're all the same.
Right.
So it's like, the saying, it's like you are who you surround yourself with, right? And Kuya lives that, man. And I think that's the most, for me, I think that's amazing how people can just trust in him, like, follow my lead, let's go, we're gonna go, whether it's to be anything he does, whether it's food or you know what I mean, or being a dad, or being a tattoo artist, or being whatever he does it well. And and it's crazy, like I said, he's always had that, and it's funny too, because we go back a little bit too. From, like, we all know a lot of the same people, back in the day from the street, but, Kuya's an OG, you know what I mean? And for somebody to, like, from our city of San Diego, which, there's a lot of people out there, but Kuya's an OG, and a lot of people know him, but it's just good to see somebody, like, 360 that, you know what I mean? And kind of, like, just pave a new way for us, younger generation and older generation, just to kind of, like, there's some light at the end of the tunnel. Let's get this bag.
It's
crazy.
What I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy because he could still cause chaos.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And and that'd probably be the easier, quick fame route if he was like, you know what, I'm still going to be what I was and cause chaos because, look, I got people ready to roll. Yeah. But because he's taking a positive angle on it, it speaks volumes to his character.
Right.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. As this goes on, I think I want to share with everybody what we wrote about Kuya right here, on our TAC Transition podcast, episodes 16. Thakuya, a Polynesian tattoo artist from San Diego, the 619, is considered one of the California's most creative artists in the field of cultural bodywork. The stories are etched in the souls, body, and mindset of each human canvas that Thakuya has left his murals on. We are truly blessed with the sharing of his transitions and pivots that Thakuya has been taken just to be able to sit in the chair that he sits in today. So we are really looking forward to, and it's already started, to hear the seeds that he drops, But it's important just to know that we brought him in here because he's creative, and he's creative in the senses, but he has trust. You got to have trust with a lot of people just for them to let you do what you do to their bodies, So I just want to know, what made you choose tattoos? Why? Touch base on your wife and your family and kids, and let's talk a little bit about the legacy that's going to come off of those two things right there, please.
You know why I chose tattoos is because it goes back to the gangbanging days. It's a form of leaving your mark, but in tattooing, it's leaving your mark on other people. And the beauty about it is that canvas travels. It's not just in your hood. It's not just on the wall. It travels and it speaks volumes of who you are. And the stories that I get to share, this is the beautiful part about Polynesian tattoos. It's a story. And so you have to sit with that individual. You have to dig deep and ask them what is important to that person. and what does this symbolize for them, and their triumphs and their failures and things like that, and you embody that into the story, and you get to know this person, you get to connect with them, and finally this person that comes into your place as a client is now your friend. And now because you celebrating things together, they become your family. And this is why I love what I do. It's like I have become family with so many people. I have created circles outside of circles. Yeah. Instead of being exclusive, it's becoming an inclusive thing. So now it's building community. And I think that's what it's about. And this is one of the things that attracted me to Milo. And it was, I don't know, it was weird. It was his laugh. He was talking to somebody, and it was serious. I could tell it's serious because everybody's listening. And then I heard him laugh, and I was like, man, this dude got an obnoxious laugh, yo. So it drew me to him. It's like back in the days with Eazy-E. Why did people like Eazy-E? Because he had that squeaky voice. Yeah. Like out of all the dudes, he had that squeaky voice, and when he goes, and you just were drawn to it, what he said after that. Right. And there was something about me just watching. I like to watch people move. It's, back in the Navy, the facility, the big house, whatever you want to call it, when my kids might be watching, you know what I'm saying? But you have to observe people. You watch how they move, how they react, and you can tell who's going to pull a move and who's not. And I saw from the first time I saw him that he was a mover. And so I'm a mover too. And so birds of the feather flock together. That's what my dad used to always say. Mm-hmm. He goes, those dudes are bad dudes. You a bad dude too. I see you. And it's just been like this ever since. Like, yo, what's up, Milo? What's going on? Oh, I'm about to do this. Let me show you something. And it's the excitement in his voice, but it was always a collaborative type thing. He was always including people, and he'd always say, hey, this is going on, this and that. But my family, that's a whole nother story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As it should
look at the screen right there. How does that touch you? Yeah. Come on now.
I always say, people always trip out how I met my wife. I met my wife through the prison visiting room glass. I married my bunkie's sister.
Wow, come on, man.
Bro. So I say I married my bunkie sister.
That's a movie.
You spit game through the glass player.
It was the look, bro.
You got the Midas touch. But everything you touch, turn to gold.
The craziest thing is my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
He would always tell stories about her, this and that, and I was just so intrigued about this. Why, nah, you lying, homie? Yeah. She can't be all that. In my head, like I'm thinking this, but out my mouth, I said, "Hey, can I take her out on a date? Maybe get some coffee and this and that. Nothing serious, right?" But when I first saw her, it was like it was pretty much one of those love at first sight type things. Yeah. And the rest is history. She's like,
we got any whistles or anything for that one?
Is that a foul?
Come on now, let's find something on that one.
Hey, I can't say enough about her. I because
hey baby,
the saddest part of me being a tattoo artist is I get to hear I just left my wife or this and that. And I'm a big country song guy, Yeah. So I'm listening to country music, and I'm in the field. I'm in the fields, and then and my wife's, in my head, and I was just so blessed to have her, because she gave a dude like me, who had no chance, a second chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because she married me at my worst.
Oh yeah.
And I never knew. Or I didn't know what God's plan was for me. I had 3 jobs. I was working at a drug facility as a kind of like a counselor, but without credential. I was a night watchman. I was a employee chef, and then I did tattoos on the side. So tattoo was not even in my like one of those things that I was gonna do. It was a hobby. It wasn't even a hobby. One tattoo a week to now I do 2 tattoos a day, and I had to stop that. I was doing 2-3 tattoos 7 days a week. I had no family life. I was a slave to the needle. And I had I was doing a tattoo party in Las Vegas, and at a timeshare that we had. And I don't know what brought it on, but I was beating myself in the bathroom, like swinging my arms to hit myself. And my wife walks in, she goes, "What's wrong?" And I told her I was tired. And she goes, "Tired of what?" And I said, "I'm tired." She goes, "Tired of what?" I said, "I'm tired of being the Kuya. I'm tired of being this person." And you know what she told me? She said, "You know what? You can't be tired of being who you are because you're probably the only Jesus that people gonna see." You know what I'm saying? Because it's always been spiritual with me. The connection that I have with people. It's not about money. It's not about status. It's not about nothing. It's how can I introduce Jesus into their lives? How can I share the gospel with them? So every time I do a tattoo, we start off with a prayer. And it might be a story they told me, and we can pray about that. The struggles that a person's having, why they're actually here to get a tattoo, and what brought them to me. Right. Because I believe that each and every individual that gets tattooed by me is brought by God.
That's an awesome mindset, and if that doesn't unshackle the shackles when you're supposed to be shackled down during the times of COVID, or during the times of any kind of transition to pivots, man, you have it right where it should be. But let's take that that GPS, how God provides sight. And when you got married to your wife, did she already have a kid?
Yes, she did. Our son Josiah.
And here's what's amazing to me, and talking to Kuya about his son Josiah, you can see authentically that he's embraced him completely as his own, 100. And for one reason or another, the Lord blessed you, and He blessed you with about 3 more, right?
Yeah.
But early before we started this little segment right here, we talked about everybody has some hidden secrets too. So the Lord looked at this gentleman right here and says, bang, 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 bang. Okay, he accepts this one. Nothing's coming, and all of a sudden we're going to throw 3 on him. But then something come knocking on the door. Touch base on that a little bit, please.
Yeah, that was a real struggle for me. I was struggling with my faith at that time because there was nothing that we could do to conceive. And so there was like a 7-year gap. But that's why everybody's like, wow, you got them spaced apart. You got this one, he's 22 years old, and then you got a 9-year-old. That's because we couldn't conceive, and people, it's crazy that God gives you testimony that you can share and give hope to others. And I tell people, it wasn't until I surrendered that we had Matthias. And the thing about it was we tried to fill voids in our lives with different things, with materials, with dogs, because that's why I had our first dog. We called him Uso, which meant brother in Samoan. So we were giving Uso a brother, or giving Josiah a brother, which was Uso. Then after that, we had Ikolu, which was number 3. So it's like 1, 2, 3, And these were like, for me myself, that was my way of filling the gaps and getting through the struggle that I was having with myself, because I was blaming myself, you know what I mean? That there might have been something I did wrong and God's not happy with me or whatever. But when I was sitting in the car one day by myself, and I was thinking, you know what, Lord? I surrender. If this is the last kid that I'm going to have, I'm going to love him like my own. I'm going to love him with all my heart. And shortly after that, my wife told me that we was having Matthias.
Wow.
And then that's when I knew, you know what I mean? We need to surrender the things that are holding us back, the things that are holding us captive, because they're the things that keep us in bondage. They're the same things that keep us from moving on. And they're the same things that cause people to kill themselves because they've lost their self-worth. They don't know who they are. They've lost their value. They've lost hope because they are lacking in one thing, and that one thing is faith. And so when I surrendered and stopped questioning God, why this, why that, and I said, I surrender, the miracle happened. And that was a changing point in my life.
Wow, bro.
But someone else comes knocking on your door. You know, Kuya marries one with a kid, and she marries one with a kid, and shows up. Touch on that.
My daughter Michaela comes into the picture after 14 years. And there was these things that I was doing when I got out, community-wise, where I would go into parolee orientations to help those who just got out find they're going through a program called Second Chance. And I would go do those speaking engagements to kind of like boost their morale and say, yo, if I did it, you can do it. I was going to churches, speaking on prison ministries and stuff like that. And so when I get brought to court talking about they're going to take my parental rights for my daughter, because I got a paperwork saying that, hey, you got to give up your parental rights. What? So her parents and her stepdad were trying to adopt her, her stepdad. So she comes back into my life in that way, kind of abruptly. And my wife supported me the whole way. And she's like, yo, we'll go to court, we'll go do this, and we'll go do that. But they had painted such a picture of me being a deadbeat dad, one who abandoned his child, and whatever you can say about me on black and white, until I told them that, can I bring some character reference? And what was funny, because I never thought that it would happen in this way, that I was able to talk to those pastors, those community leaders, and the officers that I spoke for, and the schools that I spoke for, to write character references to speak on my behalf. And when I had that paperwork, they couldn't like object to it. So they had to go through it and reset and go back to court. And then I finally got to meet her, and I was able to ask for her forgiveness for not being there as a father. Yeah. And the cool thing about that is we had lost touch after that, because I wasn't allowed to contact her until she was 18. But when she turned 18, she reached out and said she wanted to have a relationship.
Wow.
So yeah, it's an awesome thing.
Awesome. I think that's awesome when you can just sit right there and share that, because hope doesn't end, and hope is useless unless it's followed by action. And the actions that you took, got you into a relationship right now. And I'm talking on everything that you've done, because you had to literally, you said you had to surrender. That's an action, and hope is useless unless that phase takes place. Yeah. And you took it. It's a hard step, and then it's even harder to take the next foot to go forward again, and you did it. And if you look at that's building a legacy. That really is. That's building a legacy, and when you start to build a legacy, you start to get around. It's not about hanging out; it's about getting out. And then as you're getting out, your get out is going to be exactly going to be the template that other people are going to use. So when we look at the legacy there, and what are you doing within the in a sense in the community? Because you talked about these traits. They're reps. You took some incredible reps, and in those reps, now you're able to turn around and you had people write things about you because you did it. You did those reps. So now what happened is, as this thing starts going, you got friends and stuff coming to you guys, right? They're coming to you guys and sitting there right there. They just want to hear you guys speak. So I think that's kind of crazy because they know your value. Those guys know your value because you've delivered value to them and you've changed their lives. And I think that's incredible. And as you look at that whole concept of just gathering in the back of a shop and then gathering at a park, or just the gathering itself becomes that fellowship and that you're doing right there. So you get to the halfway point in your life, and then you're like plateauing, like, what do I do? Is that my phone? My Lord. Hey, this is called being human. That's AJ's dad. I can't take that, so he knows that. So at this halfway point in your life, and here you are right now, there's a few things that in a sense takes place. Now you know things. You got to do your own family. How do you manage your life? How does it become a Tetris box? You gotta work about your family activity, otherwise they don't think you're paying any attention to them. We all know how that works, right? You're part of a bike club, and I'm not talking low rider. I'm talking about bike club, and then you guys started this round table gig that's got a lot of people excited, and that's going to grow. So can you touch base real quick on that, on what's going on right there?
You know what, this is crazy, because I always go back to my point of reference, which is doing time. One thing you learn about doing time is you learn to count it, and the other thing is you learn to do it. But what you learn overall is that time is precious. It's the most precious commodity, never get it back, aside from money. You know what I mean? Aside from water, time, because you never get it back. You spend it, but you don't get it back. So it's like capitalizing and taking every opportunity set before you and just taking it head on, whether or not, like me and Mother were talking, like to start the project that we were doing. I didn't have the means or the resources to do it. But am I going to sleep on it, or am I going to get it? So it's having faith that that God's going to see you through. I told him, he was saying, yo, someone's going to jump on it, someone's going to jump on it. People are asking about it. But I said, I kept on telling him, I got to pray about it. Me and my wife got to pray about it. I even brought my wife there so we could pray about it. And so when we committed it to the Lord, and after that, it was like, yo, let's run it. Regardless of what was going on in our lives, me just getting out of the hospital and being set back a little bit, we went ahead and took that risk, and the reward's going to come later. But if you don't take that initial risk and seize the opportunity, somebody else will, and then you would live with regret. And that's like having that time that you didn't use, and it's gone.
Take a chance.
I don't know how I do it. I just do.
Shows up.
I just show up, and my main thing is being available. It's like
Being present.
Being present, because you can come with any excuse, but people don't got time for excuses. The kind of people that I mess with, man, they trying to take their lives sometimes. Yeah. And you're going to say you ain't got gas, you ain't got time. Hey, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, you find out that person's gone. So my life kind of works like that, where these things, they linger in my mind. They don't haunt me. They drive me to be the person and to push as hard as I do. And I just thank God for giving me the strength, and I stand on with God all things are possible.
Yep.
Just like those miracles that happened with my son, with my daughter coming back into my life, with me having that second chance, with me marrying a woman that married a nobody at that time. I didn't know my value. I didn't know my worth. I just knew I was lonely. I just knew I needed somebody.
I think the cool thing for us as humans is just to know that, you talked about time being precious. it's so precious that he's never a second late or a second early. So everything that's happened in your life has happened the way it's supposed to happen. That's why we're here today, and that's why you touch base. But it seems to be that you just can't stay right there. You open up your peripheral a little bit, and by opening up your peripheral a little bit, you look into these unity things. Is the way I look at it. Why get on here you are, you got family, you got thing, and you're riding a damn bike now. And then you're riding a bike, but what drove you to want to have a bike? And then not just a bike, but have a bike club, Touch on that.
Because it's ultimate freedom. Being on a bike gives you that sense of freedom. That you
Born to be wild, right?
Yeah,
that's a movie, dude.
You there's no other feeling like it. So I tell people who deal, like my club, we focus our agenda or our mission on people who deal with PTSD, who deal with anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. Our club, we also support like cancer awareness. We support sexual abuse children. Things that people won't touch because it's sensitive. It's something that even if you speak on it, you think it might happen to you. We ride for that. We bring awareness to that. These things that people don't want to address or sweep under the rug. And God gives me the time. I have a wife who's very understanding. I'm very inclusive when it comes to it. So all my family members are members. They're not excluded from. They might be excluded from the ride, but they're not excluded from the activities. The women are involved logistically, and they plan things for us, because we don't see everything. Like we just see we're gonna go. No, we need to do this.
And listening to that, I see a team concept, and it's pretty cool because when you're talking about including everybody and everybody has a hand in it, then everybody just enjoys the day after it happened. They enjoy the day before it happens because they know that,
it took everybody to make it happen.
It's intertwined, and I like that because now it's just not, yes, you're free and you get all that, but you're still knitted together.
Yes.
I
you're
love that.
You're a coach, man. So teamwork make the dream work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And we say that all TEAM. No I, but there's an M and E, more execution, more everybody, more excitement, more enthusiasm, right? More education. But all those things come into play, and that's what you're doing. You guys are setting some ground rules for the young kids to be able to see, which is your legacies, right? You guys do that, Milo. You do that every day in your life. Your daughter acts just like you, So, and she's in the business, and it really shows that you're doing the right thing. One of the coolest things. Like 3 years ago, we did a clinic down in San Diego, and then we talked about how many of the kids that we've coached that are coaches. We came up with 71 names. So, in a sense, in that family realm, like Milo, your daughter's doing that. You're setting that legacy within the family. So those kids are growing up to be a part of that whole club, and that's what you guys turned it into. Instead of we're driving away, no, we're driving with. So I think I love that concept. And then we talked about going down to San Diego. James and I went down, and we went down for this just to chat a little bit and kind of figured out how do we get out of a plateau? How does life keep elevating? So we did something down over there with Milo, and we're tapping it as a round table, but as Milo hit it on the nose, and he talks about. I've been hearing about Kuya. So as we got there, he wasn't even there yet. And just talking to people, and he walked in with an entourage. Like you said, he walks in with an entourage. So, but other people have a way of walking. He has an incredible cause of matter. He could walk right in the room, and he could bring the temple the way he wants it to be. Mm-hmm. And just the way he stood, I went, okay, that's him. And never seen him, but you could tell, and you possess that, Kuya. I think that's awesome. But and I look at those guys that all go there, even Milo himself. Milo, you're an incredible leader in the community. But when you guys all sit together, even you tend to look up to Kuya as a guy.
I do.
And
absolutely.
I think that round table is going to go good because both of you guys' intentions are just for the greatness of the community, and you invited us to be a part of it, all of us, and I think it's amazing. Can you guys just touch base on that round table and helping people get out of their plateaus?
It's the round table. I mean, obviously, it just started, with the purposes, I should say, is like-minded people, entrepreneurs, artists, anybody that's just trying to get out of where they are now to elevate to the next level. And and you are who you surround yourself with. So it's the round tables, just individuals that are just ready to make moves and share their dream and their passion, and share also the failures that come with it too. Because if you're not failing, you're not progressing. And that's just part of moving forward. And I try to explain that to some people, and it's like, really? But you got to fail. You know what I mean? You got to fail because those are L's that you could take with you, and you share them. You share them with other people around you. Me and Kuya, we man, like I was just like looking around today when I was inside the shop, and I just looking at everybody, and everybody's just so motivating around us. You know what I mean? And everybody's doing their own thing. There's a bunch of different people doing different things, but we all share one thing, and that's to get to the next level. And there's so much of that, and we just want to be support. We just want to be support. And like I said, even that level is, even if it's a better father, a better wife, a better son or daughter, it can be anything. It's just, if you want to better yourself, we want to help.
And listening to that, and you're talking about everybody in that place is motivated, right? James, didn't you feel that when we went there?
Oh, it was awesome, man.
Right?
Yeah,
and I was like, there's something happening here.
I left there wanting to start a coffee shop, a barber,
buy a lowrider.
I wanted it I was lowrider, it was heavy, and the dopest thing about it is the influence, right?
Yeah.
It ain't like, it's a great thing because it's not like, a lot of people think you meet with people and there's like, okay, maybe you could help me business-wise, whatever that may be, but just the influence of it was, you can't even put a price tag on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I left there so motivated, I swear.
Josh,
thank you for taking me.
Yeah, Josh was here, so he's sitting over there and hearing what we're doing. Is the round table something that you would like to travel down to San Diego and just kind of be a part of it? And what do you think about that?
I think it's actually quite awesome to go accept knowledge from different people with different points of view, because no one walks the same life all the time. So when you hear someone that is a positive, heavy influence like in the community, and then you get a vibe from that, like even just hearing Milo, I always tell him, like, yo, you're a pioneer, you're motivation to the youth.
And Kuya, I want to get this thing back to you because in that round table, I really see that you guys work pretty good as a team, but you got mad influence, dude. You really do it, and when you talk, all heads turn to you. So do you calculately? Do you look at that thing and say, okay, here it is, or do you just spit things out? Because you're like E.F. Hutton. People are ready to listen to you speak.
I just spit it out.
He's a freestyle.
It's kind of like, what God puts on your heart. Where the need is or where the gap is, he fills it. And so, when you're talking about plateau and elevating, the thing that pops into my mind is knowing your worth, right? Mm-hmm. What good is your worth if you can't give it? Mm-hmm. And this is how you help others elevate And that's how you get out of plateauing, is you reach that next level by sharing what you have. And that's what I love about Milo, is because he is very community oriented.
Yes.
And he is very like, yo, what do you mean by community? You mean Bayou Logan, Sherman, as a locale? He goes, no, it's we had come to understand that community has a farther reach than that. It's building with other people in a collaborative sense, because he's all about collaborations. And so if a person is about collaborations, he's about bringing people of different mindsets and bringing them and mind melding them together to where now we're thinking and growing in the same direction.
In a sense, you guys are creating your own eco program, and you're leveraging off of that.
He wasn't lying about that food spot on the corner.
Yeah, he wasn't lying. I think that's awesome. But as we move into the second half of your life, we get into the second half of your life, and it's a quick one, because you guys know the first half is kind of rough and tough because you're creating a toolbox. But now we're ready to roll. And then you get a lot of these setbacks. But you can always place yourself and understand that the facts are incredible. The knowledge that you get out of the facts are incredible. So going forward, knowledge and passing it forward to help souls, like in a sense you did that to a gentleman, Izzy. Izzy was supposed to be here tonight. I was just amazed that just listening to him in the situation that he had, and then you being the spiritual person that you did, and you say you just spit it out, and he said it just came out. So when you look at that knowledge and stuff, how does that make you feel that somebody will gravitate to you and kind of, in a sense, you know what, my life changed because this guy guided me?
Then I believe I have fulfilled my purpose. If my purpose was to lead, let me lead in the right way, and hopefully nobody follows me, but they follow Jesus, And that was the only thing, because I myself, I couldn't give the type of love that he needed or his family needed, but God through me was able to reach out, because like what was said in the conversation is we were not of the same street.
Exactly.
We was this gang and this gang. We had prior history, or back in the day, not with each other, but his thing was, why would somebody who could give a ish about me go out of his way to help my family? Right. And to me, it wasn't about past or whatever. It was about the present, about a person who needed a friend, who needed help or whatever. His wife sent out needing prayer, and that's what I do. I'm a prayer warrior. I'm not a prayer warrior. I don't. My wife trips out and she goes, "Man, you ain't worried, you ain't stressed," because if you gonna stress about that means because you don't got a handle on it. But if you accept and know that this is out of your hands, you gotta surrender it. Like on my hands, it says, "Let go and let God." I have to constantly remind myself of that too, because if I hold on to it, it sets me back, And I ain't about the setback. I'm about the comeback. You know what I mean? I'm trying to spring forward in anything I do. And you were saying, in my second life, in the life I'm living now, I've been given a second chance. I've been given a second win, and This ain't a sprint. This a marathon, right?
Which is harder. It's harder because you got the second chance, but you still getting challenged.
Hey, so you got to man up, and you still got to fight. Just because you got obstacles ahead of you, you got to find your way and break through it. Right. We ain't quitters up in here.
And listening to that truly is what's next in your life. Just that mindset. You got to fight. You can't quit. And that provides a new way to compete within the game. Because really, once you set it, you're right where you need to be.
Coach Coco, you know what? I've been listening to you. You think I don't be listening to you? What hits me the most, and where I can find a parallel biblical, is we fight from the victory, not for the victory. When you said from the ground to the crown, I knew that you was not a coach on the field. You was a life coach. Yeah. because you touch it. You got this, man. You were speaking life into his son that made him one of your close comrades. That he's willing to ride for you, whatever. You know what I mean? Because you're not coaching for a game. You coaching for life.
Yeah.
That's why he's coach, man.
Because like people, yeah, why would I even be here? I don't really know football. My son played football, but I don't know it like that. I'm barely learning through him. But when you're talking about life, struggles, and how to get somebody's mindset right, to get them thinking the right way, to get them to perceive things the right way,
Yeah.
that's a whole different coaching.
But you're coaching too.
You know, let's get quick because when you restart it, that's when you're the fastest because you restarted. So we're gonna play a quick little name game here. Okay?
Let's go.
And I'm gonna throw a name out, and you got 20 seconds to say something about a person, two-person, I don't care what it is, but and the first name, there's no name, but it's a male figure that impacted your life. Who might that be?
You know, I'm gonna say Milo. I'm gonna say Milo, because you know what? What's crazy is to see him make the moves that he does and to impact the community the way he does is something that you want to emulate.
That's
You know?
deep, bro.
You know, I think that's awesome because when I said quick, man, you made sure we went real quick. Man, when I talk about a male figure, the next name I was going to mention was Milo. So it ended all up. So Milo, what do you think of Kuya? What he says about you?
Man, I mean, it's gonna be too cliche to be like, oh yeah, right back at you. You know.
No, yeah. We're not doing cliche shit.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we didn't. You didn't come up here for no cliche.
Love you too, bro. BFF forever.
Hey,
Nah.
you guys need to hug it out real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Come on, man. Come on.
Fuck it out,
We got a
baby.
2-hour drive.
Tony's right now going cliche.
Yeah. Nah, man. I mean, you know what I mean? I think that this is what I think, man. I think that me and Kuya, we have a lot of similarities, man. You know, and I think we write the agenda, his agenda and my agenda, they line up. And you know, it's like, you know, game recognizes game, and he got game, you know. So I'm just honored and you know, and I can only imagine what we're gonna do, what we got, you know, cooking next. But it's an easy one, you know what I mean? Like I said, you surround yourself that people that motivate you and that just want to keep you accountable and hold you accountable. And you know, these guys, they hold us accountable, whether it be verbally or not. You know what I mean? Because I know once they step in the morning, as soon as we all see each other, it's go time. You know what I mean? And it's like we all hold that accountability.
Y'all give each other that look, and there we know.
Yeah, man.
And there we know.
Yeah, that's me.
Things understood need not
Hey,
be spoke on.
here's what's crazy, Tony, because we know we're on a clock and we can see a clock and time is precious. You know, all that stuff. We talk about time, so we're also on a time thing. But you know for a fact we got some Filipinos here today, because and some Mexicans because
we late.
When I said 20 seconds, Milo spoke for 2 minutes.
I was quick, bro.
But I don't have a problem with it. But I'm like, my Lord, man. So let's get back to this again. Okay, we're back to the 22nd now. I know it's going to be hard, Mr. Thakuya. What do you say about your wife?
She's my backbone, my number one support. You know, anything that I do, as long as I give it to God, she's right with me.
You know
whatever it is.
You know why we're all here? Or most of us? Because we got their permission.
For real.
I ain't joking. Usually we wait till the end of the show on that one, but it came early.
Hey, I wear the pants, but
Right?
she the belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, now being the guy who you are, when the word culture comes up, how driven are you with that word itself?
You know, culture is everything. It's what makes you you. You know, from the traditions to you know, the food you eat, the prayers you say, the things you do, and how you do it. You know, you honor your culture. You know, not forgetting the traditions that you used to do, whether you're here in the United States or where you came from, the Philippines or Mexico, you adhere to certain things, and that's how people know who you are. And Filipinos, we're known for our generosity. You know, we're known for our hospitality, and it's not like wow, not a thing of wonderment that we are a lot of our people is nurses. It's because we're caregivers. You know, this is characteristics of our people, and that's what makes me proud of my people. You know what I mean? The type of people that we are.
And you do a different type of caring, and it's all tight, and I think that's awesome. You know, when you get into a second half of your life, there's going to be some turnovers, and in the game of football, we call those sudden changes. So when you have a sudden change, and to get over that sudden change, you got to have a work to win mindset. You know, those reps have already got to get you there, which the both of you already have. We see that happening. And that work to win mindset, it places you into a championship elevated vision. So what was the AA, and real quick, in 2 to 3 words, what was the AA, which is your attention and attraction that gravitated you to Milo real quick?
He was a mover and shaker.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's what attracted us. Like, you know what? This dude, he knows how to move, and he knows how to make it happen. And I'm attracted to that because birds of the feather flock together, right? Yeah. It was his vibe.
Awesome. So, Milo, when you hear that, what was your AA? What attracted you and got your attention, or what got your attention, what got your attraction to the Kuya? And I don't want to hear adobo. I don't want to hear about Poncet. None of that stuff. No. You know, but let's. I want to know.
I mean, like I said before, we're so like-minded. I think, you know, and we have the same drive, and we move alike. It's just different, you know, but it's not. But it's just not him too. He introduced me to Izzy, and it's kind of the same thing too. So it's just like this. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, you know, it's God's plan.
Yeah, he places them circles as you start getting together. Yeah. Those circles are right there, and those circles are meant to elevate. Yeah. Those circles are meant to expand, and really that's it. When you look at, you know, we're in the presence of adversity today. We live in a world of adversity, and how do you leverage your strengths as a GPS, Kuya, for those you inspire?
You know how I leverage that is my availability. Is I make myself accessible to those who think they don't have access to me. I reach out to them, no, without them thinking that, like, yo, is this real? He's answering my call. He's texting me, and then when I tell them that he is I and I am him, I am Kuya, they're like, no, you lie. You know. So I leverage the influence.
You know, that's funny that you would answer that. I think last week we were talking about the value of a button pusher. So, you know, I might be talking to somebody and they want to hear, you know, man, one of these days I would love to meet Thakuya, and I can turn around right there and go, here, meet him. Mm-hmm. They don't want me, they want him. When you can put somebody to a button pusher, you know Milo? Yeah, no, you don't know. Watch here. You want to talk to Milo? Mm-hmm. And when you can do that, you get somebody right off of the floor of goodness. You know, I'm good, and you put them right on the dance floor of greatness. And all they got to do is just be present, and you guys are going to be able to guide them right through it. I see that as an AA with you guys, and that's awesome, because that's exactly what it is. But how does the message carry over to the adults and everyone underneath your umbrella? You know, do they start to do the same thing?
They should. You know, because one of the things that people lack now is being available. You know, that's why a lot of people are alone, even though surrounded with many. You know, and that's a sad place to be in a room full of people, but still feel alone. But it's that one person that makes themselves available is the game changer.
You know, I see in a facility that you own, Milo, and the group that goes there. James talks about it. We mentioned it numerous times already today, but that circle, in a sense, they're all on the same page. You know, like you guys all came out of the same bottle of ketchup, you know, right from the get-in. Like no one wants to come out, but when they do come out, I got a little bit of everybody. So they all act the same, and I think that's awesome in having a elevated mindset as opposed to I'm living in the world of a plateau. You know what I mean? So they get to see it all happen, and they go home, they go motivated, they come back within you guys are motivated again. That momentum's crazy. So I can see why you guys are always doing something. You guys are always shaking, or what do you call it?
Movers and shakers.
Movers and shakers. You guys got to keep the pot going, right?
Yes.
You got to keep stirring it up.
You got to keep the hustle strong.
And if you look at what we do, we always want to try to get it accomplished on the right side. So what we just went over is the foundation is what you can truly hang your hat on. And that's what you guys talk about. You talk about just the reps. You're not talking about doing a lot of different things. You're doing the same reps where you're adding it in. Milo, just like you said, this template can come in here and do a podcast with everybody because we got reps, you know, so they're in. But this is what's going to happen. 2 minutes left in a football game. 2 minutes left in life. How do you handle deadlines peacefully when they're yours, or playing out they're not yours? How do you handle them? What do you do, Kuya?
I'm gonna take it
Tells
as it
his
comes.
wife.
I'm gonna take it as it comes. You know what I mean? So every time something coming at me, I tackle that. You know, and it seems like I got all these things, like all this confusion. But we were talking about it a while ago. It's organized chaos.
Yeah.
As long as I understand it and I have the blueprint, I'm gonna get the job done. And then because of leadership skills that I was taught, I know how to delegate. So that there comes the team. So it becomes a team effort, not just me.
I think that's because we've heard a lot of them, James.
Yeah.
And that one's pretty because it really falls in line to embrace them all, because we always want to see that they fit. And do you stay hungry? Absolutely. Right?
That's why we come to the table.
To eat, baby.
Always.
To eat.
Yes, sir.
Tastes good. We got some RTG on that thing. Where's it at? Right here. When we got the RTG, we're ready to run. You know, but last play of the game. Last play of a football game. Last play in life. Your last word. People say, you know, his last, what did he say? Last breath. Bap, 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 right? So, what do you leave for those that's listening, for those that's going to tap into it, for those that's going to probably have this thing and get it out of an archive? But what do you leave for them to resonate for their elevation and their journey and the enhancement for their program?
You know what? I'm wearing it right here. This is the foundation on which the good life was built. To whom much is given, much is required. And this is how I made it past myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Being that I was incarcerated and I went through the trials and tribulations that one goes through, you know, with losing the family, support, losing this and losing that, but being blessed with something else. I've been blessed with a second chance. So as much as I've been blessed, I'm going to give it forward. So that's why I do what I do. Right here. To whom much is given, much is required.
Man, that is awesome. Osura, sitting over there at the house, I know you're miles away, but you're right here with us. What do you think of the seeds that were dropped by Thakuya?
Man, it's awesome. It's an awesome story, man. If it was a book, I'd read it, man. And it just coming from the Polynesian side is it's amazing to see someone like from the bottom picking himself up and just sharing his story to have hope for others. It's just like what we do here at Project. We like the 3 you see in the E is to educate these kids, because like myself, I was a hell of a player, but it was just lack of knowledge, not knowing the gaps in between the bridge to make it to the next level. So that's why we created this program. Our mission was to educate the youth, elevate them through sports, and then help them excel to the next level. But it's amazing to hear what Thakuya, his story, and with Milo, of course, when he was on before. But I think it's awesome. Round table, damn. Waiting for the invite.
Waiting for the invite. Well, guys, you know, we get to that point, and that point is we just took a knee, and we truly embraced the fibers and all the knowledge that Thakuya had to offer. You know, the seeds that you dropped are definitely, you know, going to get harvest. They're definitely going to bloom. And Milo, you coming up, it's crazy. So we fulfilled what we wanted to do. At this point, you know, hey, that was tack time all the time, baby.
Put a hashtag on it, baby.
You think we ain't? You think we ain't? Come on now. So at this point, we just want to say, you know, we want to thank Tony Jefferson for giving us, again, he gave us an opportunity to come here and bring Thakuya out here to share to the world. And it's not over. Hey, we've just started right here. And next man up, it's going to be awesome. Next man up, next Wednesday the 16th, is going to be Coach Chris Creek, the head coach at the University of Laverne. And really looking forward just to having him on and what he does, the motivation that he has, and the things that he does within his program are unique. So we're excited about having you up, next man up, Coach Creek. And at that point right here, like we always do, we want to thank Coach Thakuya. I mean, excuse me, not Coach Thakuya, but you are a coach, man.
He's a coach, man.
He's a coach.
I'm telling you.
You've been saying it. So
Let's go.
We want to thank Thakuya. We want to thank Milo,
thank you
Joshua, James, and as always, Asura. Unfortunately, we didn't get Perlina out here, so man, we lost that beautiful smile. But we want to say happy birthday to Ty's son. There he is, right here. Here's Siavi. Look at him. Hello, Siavi, baby. He turned 12 years old today. Yeah, so this is his day. He's our athlete of the week, and we're truly excited to work with him. And most of all, we want to thank Tony Sweet, the engineer, the owner of the UBNGO studio, baby. Tack time all the time.
Yes, sir.
Tack time all the time, all the time. Tack time all the time. Come on. Tack time all the time, all the time. Tack time all the time. Come on. I take the kid and make him see, make him believe in chasing his dreams and destiny. Truly accept the knowledge, a part of the recipe. In order to have an impact, I first must invest in me. We sowing seeds, locally, globally, overseas. Integrity, dignity, yeah, we living by both of these. The seeds of my players had to take a knee to COVID please. The police keep taking knees on our neck, how we supposed to breathe. Now look at me, I'm leading the movement like Booker T. Let's look at the aftermath when Kaepernick took a knee. When MLK took a march, Coretta Scott took a seat. I look for feet in the eyes and I declare victory. I'm 4th and long, I go for the gusto, that's 6 for me. Right when I cross the TD, I drop down and I take a knee. I'm giving God all the glory for giving the grace to me. Like I take a knee every morning and thankful for waking me. I take a knee.